stop right there. I need to see your papers. Now.
My papers?
Don't get smart with me. Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, I am.
Then prove it. ID. Right now.
Is this really happening?
Sir, keep laughing and I'll detain you.
What you just heard wasn't a routine check. It was a man abusing authority in public, convinced he was untouchable. It was racial profiling, not an exception, but a routine method of enforcement. This is how authority often operates: assumptions first, justification later. But that day, they profiled the wrong person, and that choice would carry consequences. Before we continue, share with us where you are watching from, and don't forget to subscribe. The man standing there was Daniel Harris, 60 years old, a federal judge with more than 3 decades of public service behind him. Over the course of his career, he presided over hundreds of federal cases, many involving civil rights, immigration law, and constitutional protections. Earning a reputation for restraint, rigor, and independence on the bench, Judge Harris became widely known for rulings that strengthened legal safeguards for Black Americans, challenged discriminatory enforcement practices, and reinforced accountability within law enforcement agencies. His work helped expand equal protection claims and set precedents cited in civil rights litigation. Across multiple jurisdictions, he was not just a symbol of authority, but a public servant whose professional life was dedicated to defending the very rights that were being questioned in that moment. The officer who initiated the stop was part of U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, an agency that, over the years, has expanded its presence far beyond targeted investigations and into everyday public life. ICE agents routinely operate in airports, hospitals, neighborhoods, and public transit hubs, relying on broad discretion that allows suspicion to precede evidence. Internal records and civil rights investigations have repeatedly documented patterns of racial profiling, unlawful stops, and aggressive questioning, with complaints numbering in the thousands nationwide. The vast majority of these complaints result in no disciplinary action, with cases closed internally, dismissed for insufficient evidence, or resolved without public accountability. That day, the officer acted with the confidence of someone protected by the system, accustomed to compliance and silence. What he did not anticipate was that this time, the person being targeted understood the law better than the institution enforcing it, and had the standing to force accountability where it was usually avoided. The encounter begins inside a crowded airport terminal during the holiday travel rush. Daniel Harris is walking alone near the departure gates, carrying a small bag, moving at a normal pace. He is not running, not arguing, not interacting with anyone. He is dressed casually, wearing a floral summer shirt, sunglasses resting on his head. Around him, other travelers move freely, pulling luggage, checking phones, talking loudly. An ICE agent approaches him. The bodycam footage shows the agent stepping directly into Harris's path, forcing him to stop. No other passengers are stopped. Sir, stop. I need to see your identification. Harris pauses, looks around briefly, then looks back at the agent. His posture is relaxed. His hands remain visible at his sides. For what reason? He asks. The agent steps closer. The camera jolts as the officer closes the distance. Because I asked you, are you a U.S. citizen? This question is asked without explanation, without probable cause, without any observable trigger. Harris has done nothing different from dozens of white travelers walking past them uninterrupted. The only visible distinction is his race. Yes, Harris replies calmly. I am. The agent raises his voice. His hand moves near his belt. Then prove it. I want to see your papers. Harris lets out a short, incredulous laugh. It is not mocking, not loud, a reflexive response to the absurdity of the demand. My papers, he says. I'm traveling like everyone else here. The agent steps closer again, invading Harris's personal space. The camera angle tilts downward slightly as the officer leans in. Don't get smart with me. You fit the description. No description is given. No alert is referenced. No crime is mentioned. The implication is clear and unspoken. Black presence itself is being treated as suspicion. Harris raises his hand slightly, palms open, still calm. This is inappropriate, he says. I haven't done anything. Passengers nearby begin to slow down. Some look over. Others avert their eyes. No one intervenes. The agent gestures sharply with his hand. Lower your voice. If you don't comply, I can detain you right now. Harris remains still. His tone does not change. Sir, you're being detained if you keep resisting. Harris is not resisting. He is standing still, compliant in posture, questioning verbally. The escalation is coming entirely from the officer. The agent reaches toward his radio. The camera shakes slightly. Backup needed at Terminal C, he says. Uncooperative individual. This label is applied despite Harris's calm demeanor. The narrative is already being rewritten in real time to justify force. Harris looks past the agent, then back at him. This is harassment, he says. And you know it. The officer points toward a nearby wall. Step over there. Now. Harris hesitates for a second, then steps back half a pace, not away, but sideways, maintaining distance. His face shows calm confidence, not fear. I'd like your name and badge number, he says. The agent reacts sharply to this request. You don't get to make demands here. The power imbalance is total. One man armed, backed by the state. The other singled out in public, treated as a suspect without cause. Another ICE agent appears at the edge of the frame. Then another. None of the surrounding travelers are questioned. None are asked for identification. The focus remains fixed on the black man who dared to question authority. Harris adjusts his posture, straightens his shoulders. You are violating my rights, he says. This will have consequences, the officer scoffs. We'll see about that. Harris stands calmly, hands still visible, surrounded by agents. The scene remains unresolved. No explanation is offered. No apology is given. The only thing clearly established is that racial profiling initiated the encounter, shaped every escalation, and justified the threat of detention, all before the officer had any idea who he was confronting. The encounter is no longer contained between the officer and the man he stopped. Travelers slow down. Some stop completely. Voices begin to cut through the noise of the terminal. Phones are raised. What was private enforcement has become public conduct. A woman standing nearby speaks first. He hasn't done anything. Why are you stopping him? The officer does not answer. He positions his body more squarely in front of Harris, narrowing the space. His voice remains sharp. Ma'am, step back. This does not concern you. Another traveler speaks up, louder. You didn't stop anyone else. Why him? There's still no response. The question hangs unanswered, not because it is unclear, but because the answer is visible to everyone watching. Harris remains calm in posture, but his expression changes. The amusement disappears. His jaw tightens slightly. His voice stays even, but the anger is unmistakable. This is profiling, he says. You stopped me because I'm black. This is not confusion speaking. This is accusation. It is direct, deliberate, and spoken loudly enough for witnesses and the bodycam to record. The officer reacts immediately, not by addressing the claim, but by reframing Harris as the problem. Sir, you're becoming hostile. Harris has not raised his voice. He has not stepped forward. The hostility exists only in the officer's narrative. A man in the crowd says, he's right. This is racism. Another voice follows. You're abusing your power. The officer turns briefly toward the crowd. This is a lawful stop. Move along. No law is named. No justification is offered. This behavior reflects a documented pattern within ICE enforcement. Black individuals questioned without cause, pressured to prove legitimacy, and escalated against when they challenged the premise of the stop. Civil rights complaints have repeatedly described the same sequence: suspicion based on appearance, aggressive questioning, and accusations of noncompliance used to justify detention where no crime exists. Harris's anger sharpens, but it remains controlled. You are looking for a crime, he says, and you're doing it because you think I don't belong here. The officer steps closer. The camera jolts. Turn around, the officer orders. You're being detained. For what reason? Harris asks immediately. For failure to comply. Harris exhales slowly. This is the psychological pivot, not realization, but refusal to accept the rewriting of reality. He understands exactly what is happening, and he names it. I complied the moment you stopped me, he says. What you want is submission. The officer ignores the statement. His hand moves toward Harris's arm. A woman in the background raises her voice. Don't touch him. He didn't do anything. The officer does not respond. He does not deny the accusation. He does not correct it. He proceeds. Hands behind your back. Harris does not resist. He does not pull away. His voice remains steady, but the anger is now explicit. "This is humiliation," he says, "and you're doing it in public because you think you can." The officer tightens his stance. Another agent steps into frame, positioning himself between the crowd and Harris. The goal is no longer enforcement. It is control of perception. This is the moment where the injustice is complete, not because it is hidden, but because it is exposed and still enforced. Witnesses object. The reason is spoken aloud. The pattern is named. And authority chooses to continue anyway. Harris stands facing the wall. His shoulders are squared. His voice is calm, but charged. "This is how it always works," he says. "You assume guilt. You manufacture resistance. And you call it the law." The officer responds flatly. You can argue that later, the statement is procedural. It dismisses the present truth in favor of future bureaucracy, reports, internal reviews, language designed to protect the institution. Harris does not argue further. He has already said what needed to be said. "This is racial profiling," he says one last time, "and you know it." The officer begins to move him away from the public area. The crowd watches. Some shake their heads. Some record. No one intervenes physically. The injustice is no longer ambiguous. It is visible, documented, challenged, and ignored all at once. Harris is still positioned near the wall when he speaks again. His posture is straight. His tone is calm, controlled, and unmistakably firm. "I want a supervisor," he says. Immediately, the ICE agent exhales sharply. "You don't get to make demands," he replies. Harris does not react. He does not argue. He waits, then speaks again, slower. "You are detaining a federal judge." There is a brief pause. The agent laughs once, openly, dismissively. "Yeah," he says, "and I'm the president." Harris meets his eyes. His expression does not change. There is no anger now, no irony, no smile, only certainty. "My name is Daniel Harris," he says, "United States District Judge. You can verify it right now." The agent scoffs, but the laughter does not return. His eyes flick briefly toward the other agents. One of them hesitates. "Judge," one agent repeats, quieter. The first agent waves it off. "He's lying." They always say something like that. That sentence lands heavily, not because of its volume, but because of its familiarity. It reflects a pattern, disbelief when black authority is asserted, dismissal before verification, confidence that the system will back enforcement over truth. Harris speaks again. "You will call your supervisor," he says, "or this becomes a federal violation." The word federal changes the temperature of the scene. The agent turns slightly away from Harris and keys his radio. "Supervisor to Terminal C," he says. "Possible. Issue." The phrasing is deliberate, vague, defensive. As they wait, Harris remains where he is. He is no longer being physically restrained, but he is still surrounded. Travelers continue to watch. The humiliation remains public. A woman nearby says quietly they didn't believe him because he's black. No one contradicts her. Minutes pass. A supervisory officer arrives, older, slower, more cautious. He looks first at Harris, then at the agents, then at the crowd. "What's going on?" he asks. The initial agent answers quickly. Subject refused to provide identification. Claimed to be a judge, the supervisor looks directly at Harris. "Sir," he says, "can you state your name again?" "Daniel Harris," Harris replies. "United States District Judge, Southern District." The supervisor nods once. "Do you have identification?" Harris reaches slowly into his jacket pocket and produces a wallet. Inside is a federal judicial ID. The supervisor takes it. He does not speak immediately. He steps aside, checks the credentials, then pulls out his phone. The surrounding agents fall silent. This is the moment where the institution finally looks at itself. The supervisor's posture changes. His shoulders stiffen. His voice lowers. "Hold here," he says into the phone. "I need confirmation." Confirmation comes quickly. When the supervisor returns, his tone is no longer authoritative. It is procedural, careful. "Judge Harris," he says, handing the ID back with both hands. The words land, not loudly, but decisively. The initial agent's face changes. The certainty drains first, then the confidence. He looks from the supervisor to Harris and back again. The supervisor turns to the agent. Why was he stopped? The agent hesitates. "He fit the description." "What description?" the supervisor asks. There is no answer. "What probable cause?" the supervisor presses. Still nothing. The failure is now institutional. The stop cannot be justified retroactively. The footage is running. Witnesses are present. Jurisdiction has been crossed. The supervisor exhales slowly. This is a problem, he says. It is not an apology. It is an acknowledgement of liability. He turns back to Harris. Judge, you are free to go, he says. We'll need to document. This was unlawful. Harris interrupts. His voice is controlled, but unyielding. The supervisor does not argue. I understand, he says. Behind him, the initial agent stands rigid, silent. The authority he relied on has shifted above him. The supervisor turns sharply toward the agents. Body cams stay on, he says. No one deletes anything. Internal review starts now. He looks directly at the initial agent. You should step back. The agent does not move immediately. The supervisor repeats it. Step back. He does. Harris adjusts his jacket. This does not end here, he says. You stopped me because you thought I wouldn't matter. The supervisor nods once. That's not how this should work, he says. No, Harris replies, but it is how it works. The agents begin to disperse. The supervisor stays behind, already making notes, already aware of jurisdictional failure, civil liability, policy breach. The institution has recognized itself, not through conscience, but through risk. Harris walks away, not escorted, not detained, but still watched. The humiliation lingers, but so does the record. The mistake is now undeniable, not because of morality, but because the wrong black man was stopped, one who embodied the institution itself and could force it to confront what it had done. The consequences begin quietly, the way institutional damage always does. Within 48 hours, the body cam footage is logged, copied, and preserved. What was meant to justify authority instead becomes evidence. Internal Affairs opens a formal investigation. The Department of Homeland Security is notified. ICE's Office of Professional Responsibility requests every report filed by the agent in the past 5 years. The agent is placed on administrative leave. At first, he is confident. He tells colleagues it will blow over. I followed procedure, he says. He refused to comply, but the footage does not support the report. The timeline doesn't match the written justification. The stop occurs without cause. The escalation precedes any alleged noncompliance. Witness audio contradicts the officer's account. The phrase fit the description appears repeatedly. In his past reports, almost always involving black men, almost never followed by arrests or charges. As investigators dig deeper, patterns emerge. Civil rights attorneys reviewing the footage flag the case immediately. Judge Harris files a federal civil rights lawsuit within weeks, naming both the agent and ICE as defendants. The complaint alleges racial profiling, unlawful detention, abuse of authority, and violation of constitutional protections. It cites not just the airport incident, but a documented pattern of discriminatory enforcement. During discovery, internal records surface, 30 prior complaints, 27 involving black individuals, 0 sustained disciplinary actions. All cases closed internally. Emails reveal supervisors repeatedly declining to intervene. Training reviews show no corrective action. The system did not fail once, it failed consistently. In a closed-door meeting, an ICE official acknowledges the exposure. This is indefensible, one attorney says. If this goes to trial, we lose, another responds. The agency moves quickly to limit damage. ICE agrees to a settlement. The agent is no longer protected. He is called into a final review meeting. No cameras, no crowd. This department can't defend your conduct, a supervisor tells him. You exposed us, another adds. His badge is confiscated. His firearm is surrendered. His employment is terminated for cause. He loses his pension eligibility. His name is entered into a federal misconduct registry, barring future law enforcement employment. Outside, activists speak plainly. He hunted black people for suspicion, one says. He looked for crime where there wasn't any, another adds. ICE releases a statement acknowledging procedural failures. The language is careful. The meaning is not. Mandatory body cam retention policies are revised. Airport Enforcement Authority is restricted. New oversight protocols are announced. Independent audits are ordered. Training on racial profiling becomes compulsory, not optional, but the footage remains. Judge Harris speaks publicly once. This happened because I was black, he says, not because I broke the law. Not because I resisted, because the system assumed I didn't belong, he pauses. I had the standing to fight back. He continues. Most people don't. The agent does not respond publicly. He disappears from the institution he once relied on. The case becomes precedent. The footage is cited. The settlement is referenced. The narrative changes, not because the system suddenly developed conscience, but because this time, profiling reached someone who could force accountability. The injustice is no longer hypothetical. It is documented, it is priced, and it ends a career built on the belief that it never would. This story is meant to generate awareness. It proves that racial profiling is not an accident or a misunderstanding. It is a method of enforcement that targets people first and looks for justification later. In 2025, Black Americans were nearly 3 times more likely to be killed by police than white Americans. And 77% of Black adults say they are treated less fairly by police than white people. When it comes to immigration enforcement, the pattern follows the same logic: stops without cause, suspicion based on appearance, and broad powers exercised with little accountability. How many similar encounters end without cameras, without witnesses, without consequences? How often does profiling escalate simply because someone dares to question authority? And how many people are detained, humiliated, or deported not because they broke the law, but because of who they are or how they look? Do you know any organizations that work to protect the rights of Black people in America, including legal defense groups, community safety organizations, civil rights coalitions, or immigrant rights advocates? Share them in the comments. Let's support those working for justice, accountability, and safety for all. Leave your thoughts below. Reflect on what you saw. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.